we're going to use chalk pastels to create a nice piece of artwork, kind of inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe and her flowers that fill the space. So I've got a pencil sketch here, the basic shape I want. I'm looking at the Stargazer Lily. I've indicated where my light green, yellow areas are, and we're going to start adding color and creating our version of a Stargazer Lily. So I'm going to pick out a nice deep shade of pink here, nice bright pink, and when I looked at my reference photo, down through the center there's this really strong line of color. So I'm going to do that, and it's coming from the tip of each of those areas that I indicated. So I'm going to start by putting that color on my page. And same thing here. I'm following some of the contours of the petal. So if it looks like it's curving a little bit, then I'm going to make that curve a little bit. Makes your flower more convincing. Okay. Alright, and then this one. Put that color right on there. We're going to add some more color in a moment. Try not to put my fingers where the chalk is at already. Okay, so now that I've got my kind of reference points radiating out from the center, I'm also going to take some, because our lines, anytime I make lines like this, those lines usually show. Unless you're using the side of your chalk, you're going to see some lines. And I kind of like that because it gives a feel of, so notice how they're going out here, but it gives a feel of dimension. So these petals look like they're not just flat. But notice I'm not going out all the way to the edge because I want to take, I'm going to take this one out further because that petal's so large. But I want this to be my deepest area of color out in the center. And then in a moment, we're going to pull this color further out into the petals. So we'll have the dark area and a light area. Okay. Okay, so right now it looks a little messy, but I like to get all my stuff, colors and things laid out first. Just makes life easier in a moment, because then you get to make the magic happen as you begin to blend. Okay, and I'm not turning my paper different directions because of the camera, but if you need to curve your page or something to help you get more control over where your color is going, feel free to do that. And we may have to go back and strengthen some of our lines, but now I've got a nice set of color laid out. Again, I'm going to stretch this color a little further. I'm going to use that center point for pulling my color from. So I want this to be strong. I want it to be lighter as I move out. So I've got this all laid out. Sort of looks like a starfish. All right, now I'm going to use, you can use your finger if you want to use paper towel. Sometimes the paper towel takes too much off of the color off of the paper. But I'm taking my color and I'm just moving out. Notice I'm moving in this sweeping motion. It's curved a little bit because I want to keep that shape. I want to keep that same, and I'm kind of stopping along the edge so it tapers off the color. That's why I wanted the center to be so strong, and then the color slowly tapers off toward the edge. Gives it that nice soft velvety look. Like, okay, mix that there. Alright, so I've got one petal pretty much designed the way I want it. And like I said, later I can come back and put some of that deep shadowing back in here with the strong pink color. But I'm just going to go around to each petal now and spread that color out from the center. So I'm not going off on this side, moving it way over. I'm always starting from the center, curving that line, keeping that shape of the petal. It's already starting to turn out really cool. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Okay, so now we're going to go over to this petal. Keep doing the same thing. Keep working your way around. Let that color magic happen. Now, you could have also done around the outside, the background first, but because I need a place to hold on to my page right now, I'm choosing not to. I know that I have pretty good control over how I shade the background, so I'm going to keep it as is. Okay, and I'm watching where my other petals are so that I don't go into that area too much. Again, paying attention to the direction. Some people think, oh, I can just smear everywhere. That changes the look. You really have to pay attention to directionality. Okay? If you want it to look good. Okay, and you can still see some of those lines, and I really like that look. So, again, making intentional choices when you work with your color, changing the direction, etc. Okay. Pastels are so fun because everything just changes right so quickly before your very eyes. It can also be frustrating if you're not careful, watching where your colors are, or if you've been mixing more than one color, but you forget to clean it off your fingers or whatever you're blending with. Whether it's a blending stump, a Q-tip, paper towel. Okay, so I've got my colors, and you could always go back and put a few more lines, like say if I want this to be a little stronger right here, put a few more lines of color back, no big deal, and then blend it out. Okay, and it doesn't hurt if a little bit gets in these little star-shaped areas. You can take a clean finger and clean up some of that. Okay, so we've got our beginning. Now if you're starting to get piles of dust, it's best to tap it off, not to blow it in the air, just because chalk dust isn't something we want to be breathing in. And if you're working across from someone, they don't want to get a face full of chalk dust. Alright, so we've got this really cool looking design already. Now I'm actually going to look at this part now, and actually right here. As the petals come around, I want a little bit of shadow, so I'm going to look for a blue, kind of a nice bright blue, and I'm going to put a little bit along these edges, not a lot, just a little, right where these petals cross over. Okay, and I'm going to create a little bit of shadow because I want to create that depth, illusion of depth. One petal over the other, don't want it too strong, so I'm just kind of working that color in there, a little bit here, a little bit wider line as you come around, so that you'll have something to work with that we're going to fade out. Okay, and I may need to use a little bit down in here. Okay, we're going to fade that out in just a little bit. So paying attention to where you're putting it. I don't want it too much. So I'm going to fade that quite a bit. Okay, so I think I have as much shadow as I want to use. So I'll set my blue aside. This one I might use a Q-tip for. We'll see. So the Q-tip really takes a lot of your color back off of the page. And in this case, that's okay, because I'm just trying to create a little bit of shadow here, and I don't want too much of the color. I don't want it to be too overpowering. Alright, and working it out just a little ways into the flower itself, the flower petals. Okay, and this one here is going to work its way down into the crevices. Getting all that dust building up again, so pretty soon I'm going to go through and tap off my paper again. I'm trying to keep from making a big mess, and I'm also trying to work quickly so that I don't take too much of your time. Nice thing about these videos is you can actually speed them up later or stop it as needed so you can catch up if you need to. Alright, so I've got some shadows going on here, and we can adjust those as we go. So I'm going to set my Q-tip to the side, tap this off. Alright, so far we've got some pretty interesting looking composition starting here. We've got some color happening. Now I want to work in the center here, and it's got some yellow, so I think I'm going to start with a really light pale yellow to give that base color first. Okay, so go ahead and create that star shape in the center. That nice bright yellow. And I'll put some in here. Sometimes your chalk will get a lot of other colors on it, and if it's really causing an issue, you can take a paper towel or something and clean that off. I think I forgot my spot here, so I'll just put one back in. There we go. Alright, so we've got each of these sections with a little bit of yellow in it, and now I'm going to look for a pale green color. Nice, like a yellow green. This might be a little too bright. We'll see. I'm going to try it. I'm going to put that right in the middle of each of these yellow sections. Okay, and this one's coming out from here. That one there. Okay, so we've got those. We need to spread that out. I can't fit my fingers in there very well, so I'm going to use my Q-tip. I have a different one here that hasn't been used yet. Now, I just mixed that and I lost my green. So let me blend this out just to kind of fill in those spaces. And then I'm going to pull that green back out again and make the lines stronger. Same thing here where I messed up. I need to put that yellow back in place. So let me go back in. I'm trying not to make a mess of my paper. You can lay another piece of paper over it if you want. I usually do okay with just keeping my hands up out of the way. So it's whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to tap this dust off. Alright, so now I'm going to go back in with that green that I had and put those lines back in because those were pretty strong. So we're just going to keep them in there. I'm not going to blend them back out like I did last time. We'll leave them. There we go. Just going to leave it there. Alright, now got that all there, and this part here I will blend out because I'm going to pull some more features from that area in just a moment. Okay, so let me go back and get my pink, dark, bright pink, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to strengthen that line in the middle. Most of these stayed pretty strong, but I just want to fill it in again. Make sure that's my darkest area. Go over it a couple times because I want that to look like there's an indentation there, and that means the color has to be really strong, and I'm not going to blend it out or anything. Okay, and once again, if it looks like you're getting a dust pile, tap it off, bring it back. Okay, not too bad so far. We're doing okay. Now, there's some areas that are bugging me, and I will work on that as far as smoothing out those shadows. It's all about working and reworking the areas until you get something that satisfies you. Gets that look you're going for. Alright, so we've got this in here. Touch that up over here a little bit. Now, we have some more features of our flower, and I'm looking, and I don't have anything darker than this. Okay, they have this type of flower has these interesting little parts that are really dark, and they poke up out of the petals, so you need to tap some of that color in. Usually comes out about halfway or more up the petals, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in, because that's a major feature of this type of lily, and it's one of the parts that makes it look so interesting. Okay. And these are some that obviously would not blend them out, because you want to keep those strong lines. They're creating that texture, that color change that we're looking for in this type of flower. Okay, so we've got those designs in there. Now, I need to do a couple more features, and I'm going to try white, because they're very light colored, almost green, but they shoot out from here. There's a whole bunch of them coming out from the middle. So we'll take as many as we can get. Alright, just to create. It's not going to be the major standout, but I want to indicate that it's there. Then I'm going to look for an orange color, because I want to put the area that's orange out there. Let's see, this color should work. These things are loaded with pollen. If you ever brush up against them, they're going to stain your clothes. But alright, so get those on there. They're kind of long. A few of those. And then I'm looking for something a little bit darker in my orange to brown, somewhat terracotta color maybe, to put a line in the middle just to create the indentation that they have. Alright, so we've got that part. There should be one more piece that I haven't got on here. So I'm going to get out that white again. And I'm going to bring out one more past these guys. And I'm going to find a purple. And we're going to put that, because this is kind of purpley, but this is might be a little too strong. So I'm going to fade that out with my Q-tip, because it's not quite that purple. So we'll soften up a bit. Alright, then we're going to have to add some green along that line too. So a nice light green, because this is working its way back toward the center, but it's along that white. And if you have to go back and add some more white to it, that's fine too. Okay, I'm going to add a little green to this, just a tad, not much. I just want to make sure they show up. Okay. Then we're going to tap off our color again. Alright, so we've got this really bright, crazy thing happening here. I think I got too much shadow in, but we're going to live with that. Okay. Looks pretty good. Alright, so now I'm going to work on the background. I'm going to work around this. I want something dark because I want this to pop out at us. So I think I'm going to use that really bright blue, or if you have a deeper blue. I found one that's a little bit deeper, more like a midnight blue almost. And I'm gonna work my way along the petals very carefully. And then I'm going to, I like the lines, I like the energy of the lines. So I'm going to fill that area in really fast. And I think I may add some green in there, some deep green in between those lines in just a second, so that it's a mixture of the two colors. So I'm trying to stay between my lines. If that's hard for you, then maybe coloring the background first would be best. However, then you have to make sure that you're not getting all of your fingerprints off the background in there, which can be a challenge. Alright, I'm going to set down that blue and save it for a moment. I'm going to use a dark green as well. So I'm pulling that one out, and I'm going to put some of that in with this. So they have a couple colors, so it's kind of indicates that you've got maybe some plants in the background, but they're not showing up as well. They're in the shadows. This flower is the center of focus. That's our central idea we want to see. We don't want the background to take away, and we want it to make our flower pop. So right now you might already be liking what you see, because now this is popping out more. Those colors are looking more exciting. Alright, so now I'm going to go over here, catch this side. When I'm all done, and then I will carefully smooth all these colors together, blend them in, make the magic of blending with pastels happen again. And watch out for things under your paper, because it likes to catch and cause you all kinds of grief. Alright, so mixing these two colors is going to give us a really nice background, I think. It's already, I'm liking it already. Looking great. Alright, now we're going to get up in here. I'm going to add my green to this so that it correlates to the other side. It's our bluish green, like there might be plants that are out of focus behind it or something. Whew. There we go. Now it's almost time for the magic to happen. Blend out that background, soften it up. Unless you like this look. If you like the really loose, wild looking lines, then you could leave it like that. But I like to soften that up because I, again, want the flower to be our center of focus. Alright, so if you go to use paper towel, since my hands are still covered in chalk, I'm going to wrap it around my finger, but you need to tuck in anything that's sticking out in the back of your hand. If you don't, it's going to drag across and mess up all of your hard work. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use the paper towel and see how that looks. I'm going to go along the edges of my petals first. Okay, and then I'm going to work out from there because I don't want it to look like I've got these weird outlines. Okay, but that allows me to work through that and say, now if I'd use my finger, this probably would be darker. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. So using your finger to blend. And down here you see where I use the paper towel. So this is much softer. It pulled up a lot of the color. So maybe you like that, maybe you don't. I'm not exactly happy with that. So I'm going to put some of my color back in. And then I'm going to reblend it with my fingers, and that's all about experimenting and getting to know your medium and the tools you're working with. You might have a paper towel that's not taking anything up. Great, if that works for you. But it's all about achieving a look that you like and understanding the medium or the materials you're working with, tools you're working with, because everything responds differently to different paper, different types of chalk. You just gotta work with it, and when you get to know your medium and the tools you're working with, the magic of art can happen. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to try it, make mistakes. Okay. It's all part of the fun of art. I'm going to go ahead and put some of that shadow in there. But these petals are just popping out of here. The colors are working well together. Okay, because your greenish color is actually a complement. If you look on the color wheel, a complement to green would be red, and these are in that family. So that makes the colors pop when you use complements next to each other. Makes it more vibrant. Okay. Almost done. Coming in for the big finale here. Okay. And go slow down when you're next to those petals. You don't want to mess them up. Taking one of my clean fingers to take off some of the excess color where I don't want it. And I've got some dust buildup, so I'm going to tap that off. Okay. And there we go. We have a nice Stargazer Lily, and you can adjust that any way you wish. You can go back in, touch up some of your shadows if you think they need some more work, or you leave it as is and say, I'm happy with it, I'm going to stop. Okay, when you're done and you're happy with it, sign your name to it, because when you finish a piece of work, it should be signed. Alright, hopefully you had fun creating today, because I know I was enjoying it, and enjoy sharing my techniques with you. So, keep on creating art, have fun, explore, don't be afraid to make a mistake.